The Grenlec Debates. Power, bright ideas.
As French writer Joseph Joubert said, "It is better to debate a question without settling it than to settle a question without debating it." You are tuned in to the 2024 edition of the Grenlec Debates. Welcome. I am Kunta Kinte Ando, former Grenlec debater and your host for this, the third round of competition, the quarter-finals. I invite you to sit back, relax, and observe as our debaters skillfully explore ideas while thinking on their feet. Please bear in mind that although the students are given the topics and themes to research prior to the match, these debates are done impromptu. The students develop their arguments right here today. They've selected their motions, and they have been given 30 minutes to prepare their presentations without assistance from their teachers, and they are ready to debate. The theme for this round: energy resilience and poverty alleviation in the Caribbean. The areas of focus are grid stability, technological advancements, resilience, and microgrids. This match is between MacDonald College and St. Joseph's Convent, St. George's. The motion is, be it resolved that microgrids are a viable solution for improving energy resilience in the Caribbean, particularly in the face of natural disasters. For the proposition, MacDonald College. For the opposition, St. Joseph's Convent, St. George's.
Honorable Chair, distinguished judges, respected opponents, and members of the audience, I stand before you today to debate the resolution before us. Be it resolved that microgrids are a viable solution for improving energy resilience in the Caribbean, particularly in the face of natural disasters. As first speaker, I will define key terms in this debate and present evidence to show that microgrids are the best solution for improving energy resilience in the Caribbean because they use renewable energy. Our second speaker will further develop our argument, and he will talk about the island capacity and Caribbean countries implementing microgrids after disasters. And our rebuttal speaker will solidify our stance and dismantle all invalid claims made by our opponents. In context of this debate, viable means able to put into practice, according to English Dictionary. Energy resilience refers to the ability of the grid, buildings, and communities to withstand and rapidly recover from power outages and continue operating, as stated by the U.S. Office of Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. With this in mind, my teammates and I strongly support the Moot simply because the resolution is asking us to consider that microgrids are a solution that we can implement to improve the ability of the Caribbean being able to withstand and rapidly recover from power outages, particularly in the face of natural disasters. Microgrids mostly rely on renewable energy, usually solar energy. As we know, renewable energy gives off zero carbon emissions. In our fight to reduce the effects of climate change in the Caribbean, integrating microgrids, which do not primarily use fossil fuels, but in turn utilize energy sources such as solar, geothermal, and hydropower, etc. Audience, imagine if a next hurricane like Beryl comes in Grenada. If we already have microgrids integrated into Grenada, it will help us withstand the effects of power outages caused by the hurricane. This tells us that microgrids will help us fight any natural disasters that come our way. Therefore, the Caribbean should definitely implement microgrids as they can reduce the amount of carbon emissions we give off and in turn help us fight natural disasters. I thank you.
Esteemed judges, worthy opponents, audience, good afternoon all. My team and I stand resolutely against the Moot. Be it resolved that microgrids are a viable solution for improving energy resilience in the Caribbean, particularly in the face of natural disasters. As first speaker, I will define key terms and explain the economic and political points. My second speaker will explain the social and environmental points, and our POI will interrogate the proposition, and a rebuttal speaker will clear up any misconceptions that have been created. In context of the debate, our definition stands. Microgrid, a group of interconnected energy users and distributed energy resources that can function independently as a decentralized system or be connected to a national grid. Energy resilience, the ability of an aid to avoid, prepare for, adapt to, and recover from energy disruptions. Honorable judges, worthy opponents, microgrids alone are not a viable solution for energy resilience in the Caribbean. If we combine microgrids with advanced technology like supergrids, it would have the capability of ensuring energy resilience in this region. Honorable judges, according to Dr. Rodney Itiki, he has proposed that it has been a long-standing idea of Caribbean-wide supergrid based in Belize, whose last major natural disaster was in 1931. This would now lead to energy resilience as countries devastated by disasters can access energy from the supergrid. Let's imagine a farmer named John who started his own microgrid in St. Patrick's and was supplying energy for his neighbors. Imagine what would happen to the solar panels and wind turbines powering the grid goes down. And now the national grid goes down. Where is he getting this energy? That is why we think that supergrids should be a more viable solution than microgrids. Honorable judges, worthy opponent, my opponents may propose that these supergrids are expensive. However, this leads to my second point. There have been policies put in place to fully support the integration of microgrids and supergrids. During the 2023 COP28 conference, the IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, presented the One Caribbean program. This initiative signed on by the IDB and the World Bank has set aside over $500 million to develop initiatives like this. This goes to show that we are ready and willing to move towards an integrated system. That is why my team and I believe microgrids alone are not a viable solution for energy resilience of natural disasters in the Caribbean. I thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As the second speaker for the proposing side, I will further justify our claims and solidify our proposing stance on the resolution. Be it resolved that microgrids are a viable solution for improving energy resilience in the Caribbean, particularly in the face of natural disasters. My points will talk about islanding capability and Caribbean countries implementing microgrids after natural disasters. Wonderful audience, microgrids are surely a viable solution for improving energy resilience in the Caribbean, particularly in the face of natural disasters. According to Kyle Manahan, Senior Manager in Energy Storage from Edison Energy, one of the key features of microgrids is their ability to operate in island mode, meaning they can disconnect from the main grid and function independently. Worthy opponents, this capability is crucial during emergencies, allowing microgrids to maintain power supply to critical loads and essential services even when the main grid is down. Worthy opponents, this improves not only grid stability but reliability, in turn improving our energy resilience in the Caribbean. Opponents, furthermore, you may think that microgrids are unable to be installed in the Caribbean because of technology and money constraints. But according to news sources out of Puerto Rico, after Hurricane Maria, 10 microgrids have been installed in schools, providing secure electricity to 3,600 children after Hurricane Maria. Furthermore, on Ragged Island in the Bahamas, solar microgrids supplies 90% renewable energy to a small fishing community. These two pieces of evidence show that microgrids can be viable not only cost-wise, but more importantly, in the face of natural disasters. If they weren't a viable option, why didn't the people on these islands look for something else? Because it improves their energy resilience and helps them prevent outages and restore power during disasters. Let's summarize. Microgrids are capable of disconnecting from the main grid and operating independently, allowing improvements in energy resilience. Also, other Caribbean countries are already implementing these grids after natural disasters. This shows that they truly are a viable solution for energy resilience, improvement in the face of natural disasters. Ladies and gentlemen, with all this said and our stance reinforced, I thank you.
Good day all. My team and I oppose the Moot with our stance being microgrids alone are not a viable solution for energy resilience of natural disasters in the Caribbean. My worthy opponents, my first speaker economic points ties directly into my social points. Socially, the idea of relying on microgrids for the improvement of energy resilience in the Caribbean fails to account for urban populations who depend on centralized grids for stability. Honorable judges, urban areas or countries like Puerto Rico and Trinidad and Tobago who cannot solely rely on microgrids, which are often more suited for rural, isolated communities. My worthy opponents, I hope you have knowledge on supergrids because with the implementation of supergrids can make the national grid more reliable and stable. Say for instance, the national grid in a country goes down. Now the people that solely rely on the national grids will be without electricity. My worthy opponents, honorable judges, as someone who is passionate about the environment, here's the hard truth. Microgrids alone won't be a viable solution for the improvement of energy resilience in the Caribbean. My worthy opponents, the production of solar panels and wind turbines is far from clean. Honorable judges, installing solar panels and wind turbines is not enough if Caribbean countries continue to face deforestation, overfishing, and pollution. In fact, honorable judges, the production and disposal of solar panels involve toxic chemicals and mining processes that brings harm to the environment. So, is this really how we are going to achieve energy resilience? By destroying the environment? My worthy opponents, take for example in St. Lucia, where biogas digesters have been introduced in rural farming communities to convert organic waste into renewable energy. Honorable judges, this shows that the use of microgrids alone cannot be used to ensure energy resilience in a disaster-prone Caribbean. To add, livestock, manure, and agricultural waste are processed in community biogas plants to produce energy for cooking and lighting, showing that agriculture and livestock can be used for energy resilience rather than microgrids. My worthy opponents, hurricanes can still destroy other microgrid infrastructure. Just imagine, my worthy opponents, investing millions of dollars into a microgrid system only for it to be wiped out by a single hurricane. My worthy opponents, this means our resources should be better spent on investing in other factors which can contribute to energy resilience. My worthy opponent, I thank you.
You, as second speaker, said that microgrids can operate independently. But when these decentralized microgrids go down, how are people that depend on them getting energy?
My worthy opponent, they have battery storage for in case.
My worthy opponent, can you expound on your point, please?
My worthy opponent, both of us is answering. I can answer as well.
Can you expound on the point, please?
Please repeat your question, so.
You said that microgrids can operate independently. When these microgrids, these decentralized microgrids go down, how is the community that rely on them getting energy?
From the storage batteries.
From the storage batteries and the same solar panels that some of the microgrids use. And also, since the microgrids are smaller, they are more easily repairable than the national grids, so they will come back up faster than them.
Thank you, my worthy opponent. If an accomplished scholar such as Dr. Rodney Itiki believes in the implementation of supergrids, why wouldn't we invest in them? With the opponent.
Because microgrids are a more viable solution than supergrids. Why do you think supergrids are more viable than microgrids?
With the opponent, I'll be moving on to my next question.
Your first speaker stated that microgrids use renewable energy and do not use fossil fuels. But don't supergrids also use renewable energy?
Yes.
With the opponent, your first speaker stated that in the implementation of microgrids is I apologize. Your first speaker said that solar energy is 100% clean, but the production of these solar panels release toxic chemicals into the environment. So how is this true?
That doesn't disprove this statement. Solar energy is 100% clean. But the production may not be 100% clean. That doesn't disprove that they are 100% clean.
If the production
the energy
isn't clean,
coming
that
from
is not.
the energy coming from solar.
I'll move on to my next question. With the opponent, you spoke heavily of decentralized micro. I thank you.
Or the opponents, if microgrids aren't viable on their own, why are Caribbean countries like Puerto Rico and Bahamas implementing them?
With the opponent, we speak of let's say a natural disaster comes and wipes out these microgrids. How are these people going to then get energy?
Or the opponent, that did not answer my question.
With the opponent, I'm saying that these microgrids alone they're not 100% reliable.
Additionally, these countries like Puerto Rico, the microgrids might be more suitable for them. However, other countries like urban countries would need supergrids where they...
Why would they need supergrids?
Because these microgrids are not suitable for their landscape, their topography, their country.
How can you prove this?
With the opponent, it's on a case-to-case basis. What works for Puerto Rico might not work for Trinidad.
How can you prove this?
With the opponent, the topography of Trinidad and Puerto Rico are totally different. Also, Puerto Rico is more...
Thank you, my opponent. Can we move on, please?
Okay, thank you.
Can you give an example of a supergrid in the Caribbean?
With the opponent, there are not any supergrids currently active in the Caribbean, but there are multiple supergrids active throughout the world. There's one in East Asia, which leads East Asia to completing.
So why are you suggesting that we implement supergrids in the Caribbean if there aren't any right about now? Isn't there a reason that there aren't any supergrids in the Caribbean right about now?
My worthy opponent, we are saying that supergrids should be implemented. Dr. Rodney Itiki has suggested that we place supergrids in places like Belize and Guyana who are not as susceptible to hurricanes or other natural disasters that we face.
But don't you think that microgrids would also be suitable in the countries that you just stated?
The opponent, again, what works for one country will not work for another. So what works for Trinidad will not work for Grenada. Supergrids will provide a solution for the entire Caribbean.
How will smaller countries with aging infrastructure get connected to the supergrid?
The opponent, this would come with the technological advancements that supergrids bring in. So the development of supergrids, we will have technicians going to these countries, getting them connected.
But you stated that sometimes microgrids might not be capable with the topography of some countries. What if supergrids aren't capable? Thank you.
Honorable judges, worthy opponents, my team and I firmly and most definitely stand against the Moot, but more rather believe that microgrids are not a viable solution for energy resilience of natural disasters in the Caribbean. My worthy opponents, your first speaker preached about the hurricane barrel, but what if this same hurricane barrel destroys that microgrid? Honorable judges, let's common sense this. If there is a sudden spike or sudden prone in the amount of energy put through the grid, this can affect energy infrastructure drastically, resulting in a power outage. Think about your families, my worthy opponents. Imagine your mommy gone without power for days due to this same hurricane. So you tell me you would wait for days to get back that power? I think not.
Is this what you want to spend millions of dollars on? What you want to rely heavily on? I think not. Again, we believe the utilization of supergrids, it can power the national grids whenever it goes down. This sounds more reliable to me. So a little advice, my worthy opponents. Let's not put all your eggs in one basket. My worthy opponents, honorable judges. Yes, while we do too love plants and our beautiful Caribbean home, I urge you to see the bigger picture. Microgrids sound ideal, but it's not the only solution, but there are other alternatives. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as rebuttal speaker, I stand before you to demolish the invalid allegations of our opponents and show undetestable proof as to why our team are equipped with the most profound of claims. My team and I stand firmly with the resolution, be it resolved that microgrids are a viable solution for improving energy resilience in the Caribbean, particularly in the face of natural disasters. Our opponent's first speaker expounded on how microgrids alone is not a viable solution and on the implementation of supergrids. However, the resolution and my team's stance is not saying that microgrids are the only viable solution, but a solution. The first speaker also mentioned the policies in place to fund smart grids and microgrids. This proves not only are smart grids a viable solution, but also microgrids, which stands with the proposing stance. The second speaker further hammered into our heads their stance on how microgrids alone is not a viable solution, which is not what the resolution is suggesting. She also stated that microgrids can also be destroyed by natural disasters. That is true. However, traditional grids are more prone to destruction and will take a longer time to recover. I urge you, my audience, to recognize that our arguments stand on solid ground, which addresses this debate with the depth and insight it truly requires. I thank you.
MacDonald College is the winner of this match. Congratulations, team. Well done. We take this opportunity to say thank you to every team and all participants. To our audience, we are thrilled that you were able to join us for this match, and we invite you to tune in again for complete coverage of the next match in the quarterfinals series.
The Grenlec Debates. Powered Bright Ideas.
The Grenlec Debates will be broadcast on MTV Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. and on Saturday at 6 p.m. and on GBN TV Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. and on Sunday at 4 p.m.
Tune in